Hello, thank you for joining me. It is time for another episode of Real Talk, and it's Tuesday. What does that mean? Well, for those of you in the know, that means we're doing our market recap covering the prior 7 days. Why do we do it on a Tuesday? Because everything that happens over the weekend has to be negotiated, settled out, and put into escrow, which normally happens on a Monday. So Tuesday is a great day to do a market wrap up. With that in mind, let's go ahead and dive in with the latest statistics brought to you from our local MLS system. Okay, as you can see, we're going to start today's market update from May 17th through to May 24th. We're going to talk about first Lake Arrowhead, all areas. Now, by all areas, I mean not just the areas that have lake rights, which would be Arrowhead Woods. When we talk about Lake Arrowhead, all areas, we're basically talking about Arrowhead Woods, Arrowhead Villas, Sky Forest, Crest Estate, Crest Park, Rib Forest, Blue Jay, Deer Lodge Park, and Twin Peaks. So that's quite a broad area. Don't worry, we're going to narrow it down to just Arrowhead Woods in just a moment. But I want to talk first about what's going on in the basic Lake Arrowhead area at large. As of this morning in the MLS, for our active listings, there are 179 properties for sale. So 179 properties, that's pretty decent, especially when we're talking about having a housing shortage, a housing crisis, a housing anything. Believe me when I tell you that is a lot more property than was on market even 3 months ago. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, seasonally speaking, this is the time of year when we should have more inventory on the market in our market area. So that's pretty much going into some, I don't want to say normal numbers, because actually in 2020, there were closer to 300 properties on market, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and that's fantastic news. Let's talk a moment in terms of in the past 7 days, how many properties actually closed escrow. That's the sold statistic. Sold means we are done, finished. Somebody is new to the neighborhood, they've got keys, we are sold, done. So in the past 7 days, we've had 6 closed escrows. So there's 6 new owners coming into the Arrowhead area at large. Welcome, we're happy to have you. Right now in the Arrowhead area at large, there are 57 properties in escrow, so potentially 57 new property owners coming in, and 2 listings that are coming soon. What does coming soon mean? It means that the property is listed for sale, it's in the MLS, we are doing active marketing, but showings haven't started yet. So right now there's 2 properties that are listed for sale, but showings haven't been able to start yet. So we'll keep an eye and we'll see when those 2 properties actually are then available for people to walk through and decide, hey, I want to put an offer in on it. Let's narrow down just a little bit more now, and let's talk about Lake Arrowhead in Arrowhead Woods only. Arrowhead Woods, of course, is the area that has lake rights for private Lake Arrowhead. So there's a lot more of movement in Arrowhead Woods in terms of listings, sales, etc., and so forth. This week, May 17th through 24th, we've got 127 properties with lake rights that are listed for sale. That's about 1/3 of what was available 2 years ago this time. In the past 7 days, we've had 5 properties close escrow. So welcome to the 5 new owners who now have homes in Arrowhead Woods with lake rights. 43 properties are in escrow. So in the next 30 to 45 days, we're going to see potentially 43 new homeowners coming in. And there's only 1 listing in coming soon status. Let's go a little bit lower on the mountain in our market area and talk about Crestline. Crestline is an interesting area. We do a lot of turnover in Crestline. Right now, we do see that we've got 72 listings for sale in Crestline. So if Crestline is where you want to be, there's 72 properties that you could consider for a purchase. In the past 7 days, 4 properties have closed escrow. So we've got 4 new neighbors in Crestline. 36 properties are actually under contract in escrow, And in the coming soon status, we've got 3. So another 3 properties that are technically listed for sale. We see them, they're being advertised, but showings are not being allowed yet. Let's go all the way up to the other side of the mountain and let's talk about Running Springs. Running Springs, again, we're taking a look at 49 active listings. Big difference between the number of property that's available in Crestline versus what's available in Running Springs. In the past 7 days, we've had 5 properties close escrow. There's 13 properties currently in escrow, but take a look at this. For the coming soon, 0. There are no properties listed for sale in Crestline in the coming soon status where it's for sale, but you can't see it yet. So basically right now, if it's available, you can see it. Let's go a little bit higher up the mountain and let's talk about Green Valley Lake real quickly. Green Valley Lake, small community, not a lot of houses, but super, super cute. There are only 15 properties listed for sale in Green Valley Lake right now. In the past 7 days, we've had no escrows close, but there are 3 properties in escrow. And once again, coming back to the coming soon, 0. So if it's on market, in Green Valley Lake right now, as of today, if you were to come to me and say, Theresa, I want to go see property in Green Valley Lake, I could show you anything and everything. There's nothing that I would say, oh, you know what, that's for sale, but sorry, can't get you inside. No coming soons in Green Valley Lake. So what does this mean for this week's statistics for peak to peak? Now, when we talk peak to peak, strategically and spatially speaking, we're talking about the lowest point in our market area, which is Crestline, as you're coming up Highway 18. Next, you come into the Lake Arrowhead at large area. Then we go further up. We hit Running Springs and Arrow Bear. Some people argue, is Arrow Bear part of Running Springs or not? I say it is. And then the far end of the peak is Green Valley Lake. So when we say peak to peak in order from the lowest elevation to the highest elevation, Crestline, Lake Arrowhead, Running Springs, Green Valley Lake. So statistically, here's the factual data according to the MLS for the past 7 days. The average active property, so everything that's active in the MLS from peak to peak, the average days on market is 43. And the average price per square foot for those properties available for sale is $421. Looking at what has closed, though, in the past 7 days, our average closed days on market is 17, and our average closed price per square foot is $357. So let's talk about that for a minute. When we take a look at the average price per square foot closed at $357, and then we have an average price per square foot listed for $421, that's a pretty big gap. Wouldn't you agree? So I'll be really curious to see the next week's statistics and the week after that and the week after that. How much is this going to fluctuate? The reason why I'm super interested in that is that this is typically the season where people are putting their homes on market and people are saying, I want a lake house. I want a house in the forest. I want to be able to go hiking. I want to see bears and deer when I wake up in the morning. So watching these statistics during what would historically be our going into our top season is going to be very, very telling about how the market is reacting to the rising interest rates that we've all been seeing in the news. But sidebar, if you were to go and Google, like Google right after you listen to this, Google where interest rates were this time in 2020, and then 2019 and 2018. I think you'll be very surprised to see that our interest rates are back to the land of normal, and that we're not really in a, oh my gosh, interest rates, kaboom! We're not there. We're actually transitioning into a normal market. Everything we've seen over the past 2 years in terms of, you know, there's 47 offers on a property. And if you take my offer, hey, did you know my wife's pregnant? So we'll go ahead and we'll name the baby after you. If you just take our offer, please. Instead of seeing all these massive amounts of offers on a property, we might see 2 or 3 at the same time. So to me, that's good news. That sees the market going from a very strong seller's market transitioning into a normal market, or even, dare I say, by this time next year, a more neutral market. We'll see if my predictions are correct. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next week, next Tuesday, for another market recap, and we'll see what the market does.